In this video, we're going to take a brief look at sockets and ports. A network socket is simply an endpoint of a connection across a computer network. Note that, in general, the endpoint of a connection is not simply a device. Rather, it's an application on a device. Sockets on the Internet, therefore, include not only an IP address to a particular device, but they also include a particular port number that a particular software application is listening on. For example, port 80 is the default port for web servers. When you type in a domain name into your browser like newyorktimes.com or nytimes.com, a domain name server, a computer on the Internet, translates it to an IP address. An IP address is usually four numbers separated by dots, like the 8.8.8.8 in this slide. When you leave off the port number in a browser, port 80 is assumed. You're using a browser, so it's assumed that you're looking for a web server. The main thing to remember about Internet sockets is that they consist of at least three elements: a transport protocol, like TCP or UDP, an IP address, like 8.8.8.8, and a port number, like 80. A domain name server, or DNS, is a server that translates a domain name like nytimes.com or google.com into an IP address like 8.8.8.8. There are two versions of the Internet Protocol in use today: IP version 4 and IP version 6. In IP version 4, the numbers separated by dots in an IP address can range from 0 to 255. IP version 4 addresses are 32-bit addresses because it takes 32 bits to represent them in a computer. That also means that there are 2 to the 32, or about 4 billion, possible unique addresses. When this scheme first originated, it was thought that this would be sufficient to uniquely identify Internet devices for a long time to come. However, because of the way IP addresses were given out, and because of the growth of the Internet, it became apparent that this addressing scheme would be insufficient. IP version 6 was developed to answer a whole host of problems associated with IP version 4, not just Internet addressing. But with regard to Internet addressing, IP version 6 addressing uses 128-bit addressing. This is represented in writing as 8 hexadecimal numbers ranging from 0 to FFFF, separated by colons. And that's it for this series of videos on Internet networking. In the next series of videos, we'll go into detail about the HTTP protocol and about how requests are made to servers and responses are sent back to clients. I'll see you there.